Hey, welcome to Homeschool Life with Alexa. Today I'm going to share with you how I homeschool. What? Oh yeah, I don't do classroom. My whole house has not turned into a classroom, but we do homeschool just a little differently. How, you say? Well, we actually use what we have around the home. We have the outdoors, we have nature parks, we do sensory. The whole point of being homeschool is not to be stuck in a classroom. I don't do full-on 6-hour lectures, and we just have fun and we do learning, as we go. So if this is something that interests you, hop along. I'll show you how we do it. I'm a teacher, sensory teacher by day, and a full-time mom to a preschooler now, but I've been homeschooling since he was 1, and I will tell you all my secrets. Yes, it's not the typical YouTuber that you will find. So yeah, I'm not your typical homeschool mom. I guess we do love the outdoors and we do try to, take it as it goes. So I've been waiting to do this video for over a year to try to just tell you how I homeschool my child. But I never got myself in a place where I could just sit down quietly, tell you all about it. So it's been 3 years in the making. So I said, heck, we're just gonna vlog about it. So take it as it is. It's not professionally edited or anything. It's just a mom with a microphone just telling you what I learned. So much I learned that I actually make it into my business. I do teach sensory classes and I do know a lot about play and how kids learn. So I really want to share that with you. So if that's something that interested you, stay tuned. Let's get started. All right. Welcome to Homeschool Life. What? I'm not in a classroom. My living room has not turned into a full-on classrooms. I don't have a full stock of curriculums and flashcards. Well, excuse me, but that's not the way I roll. My homeschool, it's about being outdoors, it's about doing sensory, and it's about including nature. So that's why, if you wanna hop along and know how I do homeschool for my toddler, well now my preschooler, without worksheets, I'm gonna tell you all about it because I don't do worksheets, I don't do indoors, and we still get to learn a lot and have a lot of fun. So how about we get started, all right? Let's go. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey, how I ended up in this whole homeschool environment, how I divide my day and my week so that it works for our schedule and our family, and how I find those lesson plans and those curriculums to work on, and how I find lesson plans and curriculums and ideas to get started. The way that I do homeschool is a lot with a method called Reggio Emilia. If you have heard anything about like Montessori style, that has been very popular, it's another type of play-based learning. So the Reggio started in Italy, and it was a method dedicated for schools. So I cannot take that approach and bring it into my home and into my classes. They are very art-based, they're sensory-based, and that's kind of what my personality is, what I enjoy doing with my child, and that's how I decided to, build my curriculum around that. We also do a lot of activities outside, so I wanted to make sure that there's a lot of nature and things that we can do outside. I hate the feeling of having to print and wasting paper for activities that are going to last 5 minutes. So when it came to looking for curriculums, they were and I bought a lot. And most of them were for preschool, and at that time my child was a toddler, and they were a lot of just hundreds and hundreds of pages to print for these activities that needed to have so much prep by the parent that I was like, how in the world do people have time for this? I have to do laundry, I have to do cooking, I have an older son I have to pick up in school. Like, how am I going to even survive? So I would go ahead and I would buy it and I would try to do it, and it was just, I would do it for 1 week and then the system would never come into place. So I decided that I was just going to fit homeschool into my own life, and that's how it has evolved in the past few years. So my whole journey started when I decided to stay home with my child, but I knew that he was capable of learning. I wanted to play with a purpose. I knew that we were gonna be spending the whole day playing, that I wanted to have activities prepared for him that would kind of help him reach those milestones, that would help him kind of go from milestone to milestone and help him develop without having to take him to a daycare. And everything that I could find seemed to be like, if you wanted to, grow their gross motor skills and their fine motor skills and their music appreciation and their art creativity, that you had to put them in a daycare. And I just wanted to stay home with him. That was my mission. I wanted to provide that for him. So that was when I decided, okay, if I'm going to stay home, I'm going to create an environment that is going to be kind of like if he was in a daycare, but like with me. So I went into this whole deep dive into what is play, how you can do a play environment, how daycares set up their homes, well, their schools, their little classrooms, how I can take that and recreate it into my home. And I really got into the core of what they really needed. I also went into a deep dive of what is those milestones that each kid needs to get for each of the age. At that time, my son was 1, and just trying to go out there. Everything that I could find were just activities that people were sharing, but I didn't know the why I was doing them. So there was a bunch of Pinterest is full of activities, and I just did not know why I was doing these activities and if I was doing them right, and if he was doing what he needed to do when he was supposed to be working with. So that's kind of where my journey started. Then I said, okay, I'll do it until my son is 3. By the time he was 3, we were so into it. We were doing already classes. We were participating in nature classes. We had sensory. I really felt like I was doing a good job, and my time was up. Then COVID happened, and I just didn't feel like he was ready to go into a classroom indoors for 6 hours, 5 hours. I don't know how many days they go to daycare. 4 hours, I think, is the part-time. And to be stuck inside a classroom with a mask at 3 years old, it just didn't sit well with me. And we were doing so much stuff outside, and I have been seeing how he was being developed, and he was growing, and he was so smart, and he was so above average, that I was like, I have something good. I'll do 6 more months. 3.5. 3.5 came, and I was like, no. So we're at this point where he is 4. He is eligible to do the free VPK by the state. And I came to a conclusion that I'm not ready to put him inside a classroom for 4 hours, where we can actually do outside learning. We can take nature walks. We can do field trips. We can really do hands-on activities and experiences, and I'm willing to put the work. So at this point, VPK is gonna be at home with me, and maybe the plan will be that, that summer before kindergarten, he'll do a summer camp to get the structure of somebody else being the teacher, and then get on to kindergarten. Who knows? I might do homeschool kindergarten too, because right now, for everything, all the research that I have learned, kindergarten is supposed to be play-based, and there's still kids to learn through play. And right now schools are so strict, and they are pushing them so hard in the academics. And all the research that I have learned is that these kids do not get benefit from pushing the academics so early. Instead, they benefit more when you do more of the play-based activities. So who knows? I might change when it comes to kindergarten, have that discussion with the husband and tell him I'm keeping that 1 more year. But until now, that's kind of where we are. And the way that we do school. So let's talk about a little bit about our structure. Our schedule is just basically my time for homeschool, or my time for him. I dedicate my mornings. Right now, I do sensory classes, nature classes, and it's basically classes that I have done around the activities that I have been doing with him. So basically, I started doing activities, people were interested, they wanted to join, and now they are classes. So everything that I do for him, I have people that kind of join in. So my week, it's like this. Mondays, we dedicate ourselves for nature. So nature walk is usually, we do it in the morning from 9:30 to 11. And we do activities based on that walk. And that's the day I take an opportunity to talk about, some science concepts, or maybe just animals, or maybe just, it's mostly it's mostly the power of observation. I want him to slow down, and also me, slow down, take a look around. And we have found some amazing discoveries. Like we have found worms, and we look for butterflies, and we look for animal homes, and then we make bird feeders. So everything that's kind of nature related, just to kind of bring that awareness of where we are, where we live. We live in Florida. We have beautiful weather most of the year. We really take advantage of that. Then Tuesdays, it's my edible safe class. So it is my baby class. So it's a class that I haven't been able to let go, even though my son is already outgrown. But we do a lot of the sensory play that is edible. So with him, he kind of joins me in the class, and then we go to the park in the afternoon with our friends. And like today, we play and take advantage of those gross motor skills when he can just be creative, splash in the water or run or go to the playground or just kind of, let loose and just be a kid. Wednesdays, we have like our literacy class. Or like our literacy time where and this is 1 hour. It's 9:30 to 10:30, so literacy is where we, right now he is ready to learn about letters and, go into writing. So we actually do it in nature. So we have that space dedicated to like, getting familiar with the letters, understanding there's such thing as letters, and kind of create the environment to learn that. And then Thursdays we work on sensory, so sensory and art. We get messy, we do all those fun activities that involves just getting messy and be creative and do a lot of process art and just have fun with those textures and using like our scissors and our tongs and all those pre-writing skills that are going to develop his muscles in the hand, in the arms, in the shoulders, to eventually write with a pencil. Like I said, I don't do a lot of worksheets. I'll do it from time to time, like little games that I print out, but it's very rare. And I do it because I like to create them. So I will do one for the month, or just from like, if it's like a holiday or a season, like I would usually do that. But my homeschool is not focused on those worksheets. It's more about like those hands-on experiences as much as I can. And then Friday is what I call my day off. That's kind of where we do our play dates, and mostly is the time that I do field trips. So if we're talking about birds, I will take a field trip to like an aviary. Or if we're talking about butterflies and the butterfly cycle, because right now, at 3, it's part of like what they need to learn. So I will take an opportunity to create a field trip. And if there's really nothing, I'll just do a play date, or I'll just tell the friends, hey, let's go to the pool, or, get him to have those social skills. Part of homeschooling is to give them the opportunity to have that social life. Okay? So you have heard me talking about like, they need to learn this or they need to learn that. And how do I come up with understanding what is it that they need to learn? So the way that I base my teaching is, I live in Florida, so I use the standards of education for early learning in Florida. So there's a free website, you can Google it for your own state, and you can see what are those standards by that age group that you have and what they need to learn. So I don't do, I usually just take a concept. I said, he like at 1 year old, you need to learn primary colors. Oh, well, that's what I'm going to be focusing on first, and then I'll just take that until like I know he's ready, and then I'll move on to something else. For me, it's very hard to be like, for math we're doing this, for science we're doing this, for literacy we're doing this. Like I can't, like I have a lot going on that I just can't focus on too many goals at once. So I'm like, okay, colors, it's gonna be all about colors. How are we getting dressed? What are we eating? How are we playing? Everything. I'm just gonna hammer down that. If I'm grocery shopping, and we're talking about colors, guess what? I'm hitting that veggie section and I'm going to talk about the colors. And I don't need a worksheet for that. I could just grab a real tomato and talk about the color red. And then I can take that tomato home and I can squeeze it and play with it and make it a sensory bin. So that's kind of where my brain homeschools. That makes sense. If I'm gonna be talking about, are you cold? Oh my goodness. You want a little blanket? So when I decided that he needed to start recognizing his numbers, that was the only thing that I was focusing on, my activities and everything. If you are able to be like, take more than one subject, from those milestones, go ahead. For me, it's just my brain doesn't work that way, and I'm not here to overwhelm myself with everything else that is going on. So I go slow. The benefit of just doing that is that you really can see that there's not that many requirements per age for 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you take one at a time, a little bit at a time, you just spend 1 hour a day, just playing mindfully, just playing with a purpose, then you're doing a good job. You're just homeschooling. Just because you see all these videos with like these curriculums with like, I get so overwhelmed. It's like 5 activities a day for 5 days a week. Like, how is that homeschool? Like, where is the home part of that? I am a mom that it's like all in. Like, I will do the Play-Doh and the shaving cream, and I will do the construction paper. Like, I will do it. And 4 to 5 activities a single day, it's still a lot, because hey, you have to prepare it, you have to clean it, you have to play it, you have to teach, then you have to cook, then you have to take care of your family, then you have to take care of the home, like, then you have to go grocery shopping. Like, how are these people fitting everything into one day? Beats me. Tried it, couldn't do it. So I just take a concept, a milestone, and I just take every opportunity through my day to teach that. If I have to go grocery shopping, come. That's the one. So let's talk about a regular schedule. So in the morning, that's where I do the activities. Usually my activities are from 9:30 to 10:30 because I do it in class. But if I would do it at home, when I used to do it at home, it was exactly about that same time. Like right after breakfast, we're getting ready. We would just do that 1 hour of activity. Then it was time to clean up and then for me to prep lunch. So he would have his independent plate and I would just prepare that lunch. And then after lunch, we would regroup together again to do another activity. If it was like walking the dog, or just taking a walk, or going on a bike ride, or playing with Play-Doh, or just playing in the playroom.
Mama.
Yes.
What I mean?
So then we would regroup in the afternoon and do another activity. And then it usually, for me, I have an older son, so it was like, it's time to go pick him up. At that time, he would take a nap. And when we'd get home, he would play with his brother, or he would, I usually would set up what I call an invitation to play, which is something that I set up and invite him to play. So usually a tray with Play-Doh or something that he could play while I am, okay, we're gonna go home. Okay.
No. When you're done with your video, let's play.
Okay.
So I'm on the stage.
So I would do a invitation to play so that I could cook and he would just play next to me and then it would be bedtime. So that's usually kind of my flow. There's not like a specific time unless now, because we do have classes, we have to tell people what time to get there. But it's more like a rhythm. I think Waldorf education style, it's who they call like a rhythm. So you kind of have a rhythm of your day. So, if you wake up at 6 in the morning or if you wake up at 7 in the morning, you kind of have that same routine, from transitions from one activity to the other. So that's the approach that I take. It's not like at 12 o'clock we do this and we do that. It's just kind of how our day flows. And then the activity kind of depends on either what I have planned for him, or if we have play dates or meetings or classes or things like that. But then that's kind of how I am in school. And I don't want to get this video to get super long, so I will leave it at that. That's how I homeschool. So in summary, we do a lot of nature activities, sensory activities, art activities, try to avoid worksheets at all costs, and just really, really just use the environment that we have, our routines that we have, and the day-to-day to teach those early learning skills. So if you want a free worksheet, here to talk about worksheets. If you want a free printable on what to teach your child, I did have done the homework and I have created that. So we have what to teach at 1, at 2, 3, and I will do the 4, and then I'll leave you a link below and you can download.
Mama?
So until next
Mama?
time, say, I'll see you